Hello guys, welcome to Rebuild Academy. My name is Adil Momin and I welcome you to the fifth part of our series From Virus to Vaccine, Let's Fight Infodemic. I hope you all are doing well fighting pandemic as well as infodemic. But before we begin, let me tell you a very important point. It is extremely important and highly recommended to watch this series in order. Only then you will get a complete idea and a clear picture of every concept involved. The link is given in the description. Now let's begin. So till now we have talked about organism, their characteristics, types of organisms and organ systems, cells, its types and cell cycle, significance and functions of DNA and RNA. We have also gone through topics like mutation. Then we learn elementary knowledge of health and disease, particularly about infectious disease. Now let's start discussing the immune system. So today we will talk about different components of the immune system and how the immune system works. We will also learn about innate and adaptive immunity, and in the end we will discuss immunity system failure and diseases caused by this failure. Okay then, let's begin. The immunity system is inbuilt in an organism to provide external stability. It provides defense from pathogens and protection to infections. Our immune system is essential for our survival. Without an immune system, our bodies would be open to attack from bacteria, viruses, parasites, and more. Just like every nation has its own defense system in the form of army, navy, air force, and intelligence services that protect it from external invasions and internal stability, right? The immune system does majorly three functions. It provides defense against microorganisms by stopping them from causing infection. If mutations lead to the formation of tumors, the immune system kills the growth of tumor-forming cells, thus protecting the body from cancer. The immune system is also responsible for homeostasis, that is, destruction of the abnormal and dead cells. You can call it cleaning of the system. The immune system is spread throughout the body and involves many types of cells, organs, proteins, and tissues. Crucially, it can distinguish our own tissues from foreign tissues, self from non-self. Dead and faulty cells are also recognized and cleared away by the immune system. If the immune system encounters a pathogen, for instance bacteria, virus or parasite, it initiates a so-called immune response. Later we will explain how this works, but first we will introduce some of the main characters in the immune system. Some barriers in the body act as security guards. They provide the first line of defense, like border forces provide the first line of defense to a nation. Skin acts as a wall between the body and its surrounding, providing protection from pathogens. Mucus and tonsils are security guards that block the entrance of pathogens through the mouth and nose, and these trapped pathogens are expelled out of the body by sneezing and coughing. This is the reason you are told to cover your mouth and nose while sneezing and coughing, because you are expelling the trapped pathogens and you should not transfer them to other people. Gastric juice present in your stomach kills the swallowed infectious agents and prevent them from reaching the intestines and causing infection. Some proteins are the essential character of immune system. Antibodies, cytokines, and interferons are examples of these. Antibodies circulate in the blood, recognize the pathogen, and neutralize them. They are like handcuffs. When they attach themselves to pathogens, they stop from causing infection. Like handcuffs stop the criminal from moving. Cytokines are cell signaling molecules that aid cell-to-cell communication in immune response and stimulate the movement of cells towards sites of infection. They act as an alarm system. Interferons are a group of cytokines that were found to interfere with a viral infection. They have the ability to act as antivirus software. Interleukins are a group of cytokines that work for the regulation of the immune response. They are a part of a communication network of the immune system. White blood cells are an integral part of the immune system. Let's try to understand more about them. White blood cells are also called as leukocytes. They circulate in the body in blood vessels. White blood cells are on constant patrol and looking for pathogens. When they find a target, they begin to multiply and send signals out to other cell types to do the same. There are two main types of leukocytes, phagocytes and lymphocytes. Phagocytes surround and absorb pathogens and break them down, effectively eating them. This process is known as phagocytosis. Lymphocytes help the body to remember previous invaders and recognize them if they come back to attack again. Lymphocytes begin their life in the bone marrow. Bone marrow is found in the center of most bones and contain blood stem cells that can become red blood cells, white blood cells, or platelets. Some lymphocytes stay in the bone marrow and develop into B lymphocytes, also known as B cells. Others travel to the thymus and become T lymphocytes or T cells. The thymus is located in the upper frontal part of the chest. The thymus is a really interesting organ in the human body. Consider it as a training ground for T cells. The immature T cells that originate in the bone marrow travel via bloodstream to the thymus gland where they are trained and made mature. After this, they differentiate into specialized T cells. This training process continues till puberty, and the thymus completes most of its role in the body. And after puberty, it starts to shrink and become largely replaced with fat. Therefore, the thymus gland is large in infants, but after infancy, it grows and reaches its maximum size during puberty and then shrinks and becomes dormant. So, there are two types of lymphocytes, T cells and B cells, right? These two cell types have different roles. B cells produce antibodies and help alert the T cells, while T cells destroy the infected cells in the body and help alert other WBCs. Before starting a discussion on immune response, let me tell you one thing. People are often confused between the immune system, immune response, and immunity. You can easily relate them with terms like the immune system is a defense system, whereas immune response is like a war, and immunity is protection provided by the immune system, like people of the nation are protected by their defense forces, right? Now let's talk about the immune response. The immune response is a series of processes by which the body recognizes and defends itself from invaders. So the first process is the identification of the invader. The immune system needs to be able to tell self from non-self. It does this by detecting proteins that are found on the surface of all cells. It learns to ignore its own or self proteins at an early stage. An antigen is any substance that can spark an immune response. In many cases, an antigen is a bacteria, fungus, virus, parasite, or foreign substance, but it can also be one of our cells that is faulty or dead. The immune response can be classified as specific and non-specific immune response. The non-specific immune response, also called the first line of defense, is provided by barriers like skin, mucus, or gastric juice. If the pathogen passes through these barriers and enters the body, it encounters the protein molecules of immune systems like antibodies and phagocytes. This response system is similar to any pathogen attack. Hence, it is called a non-specific immune response, and the immunity or protection it gives is called innate immunity. This is the immunity that a child gets from birth itself. The limitation of this response is that it can't defend against the more sophisticated pathogens. Hence comes the specific immune response. Initially, a range of cell types works together to recognize the antigen as an invader. Once B cells spot the antigen, they begin to secrete antibodies. Each B cell makes one specific antibody. For instance, one might make an antibody against the bacteria that cause pneumonia, and other might recognize the rhinovirus that causes common cold. Antibodies lock on the antigen, but they do not kill it, only mark it for death. The killing is the job of other cells, such as phagocytes. There are distinct types of T cells, helper T cells and killer T cells. Helper T cells coordinate the immune response by stimulating B cells to produce more antibodies and attracting more T killer cells or cell-eating phagocytes, which destroys and kills the damaged cells. When T cells detect the infected cell, they attach themselves to it, and it releases cytokines, which activates the other T cells, and they start replicating. And these activated T cells, with the help of phagocytes, destroys and kills the damaged cells. While this cycle is continuing, the helper T cells activates the B cells to produce antibodies for this specific pathogen, and after activation, the B cells start producing antibodies specific to this antigen. Along with this, B cells also produce memory B cells, which will be stored for future reference. If in the future the same antigen is detected, then these memory B cells will start producing antibodies, and the process will be much faster. Since this type of immune response is specific to a particular pathogen, it is called a specific immune response, also known as adaptive immune response, and the immunity provided due to adaptive immune response is adaptive or acquired immunity. The biggest advantage of adaptive immune response is its ability to remember the previous pathogens, which will give the body protection from future infections from the same pathogen, which innate immunity doesn't guarantee, but the limitation is its comparative slowness to the adaptive immune response. Now let's quickly differentiate between innate and adaptive immunity. So innate immunity provides the first line of defense. It relies on mechanisms that exist before infection and handled by proteins of the immune system. But innate immunity gives general protection and it does not have any memory. On the other hand, adaptive immunity is the second line of defense. It provides protection when the first line of defense fails. Adaptive immunity relies on the mechanisms that adapt themselves after the infection and handled by T and B cells. They provide immunity from specific pathogens and have memory, which gives protection from future infections of the same pathogen. Right? Now let's learn how adaptive immunity can be obtained. The adaptive immunity developed in response to infection is called active immunity. This is the immunity obtained due to adaptive immune response of the body. Now, an infection can happen either naturally or artificially. That is, if you get exposed to the pathogen and it causes infection in your body, and as a response your body gets adaptive immunity, this is called naturally obtained immunity. For example, when you get the common cold, most of the time you recover without any treatment. The immunity obtained in this case is natural immunity, but there is always a risk of escalation of infection. If your body will not be able to produce a robust immune response within the required time, then it can lead to complications, especially in people with weak immunity. Right, so what is the safer option? The safe option is deliberately infecting yourself in a controllable manner. There are various ways to do this. You can use a weakened pathogen or only antigen, not a complete pathogen, for infecting process. This will ensure that immunity is achieved without the risk of infection escalation. Right, and this is achieved by vaccination. An example is the polio vaccine. On the other hand, immunity developed after taking antibodies from some other source is called passive immunity. The limitation of passive immunity is it is short-lived, unlike long-lasting active immunity. Passive immunity can be obtained naturally or artificially. The antibodies that a child gets from his mother at the time of birth is naturally obtained passive immunity. It doesn't last for a long time. It does give protection to the child till his immunity system develops. Passive immunity can be artificially obtained, for example through immune serums. The immune serum is a serum that is obtained from the person who has developed an active immunity due to natural infection. An example of immune serum is anti-tetanus serum. The immune system is an automated system, and like every automated system, there are always chances of failure. Consider you have an automated closing of the wall of your water tank when it gets full. Now this can go wrong in two ways. Either it will close the wall before your water tank gets full, or it will not close the wall even when water is overflowing. Right? The same is the case with the immune system. Either it will not provide sufficient protection, thus making you vulnerable to infections called immunodeficiency, or it will become hyperactive and starts damaging the body cells called a hypersensitive reaction. In hypersensitive reaction, immune system enters a panic mode and overreacts, and due to excessive immune response, cell damage happens. If the overreaction is due to an infectious agent, then it is called as hypersensitivity, and if an environmental substances cause overreaction, then it is called allergy. We hear in day-to-day life that some people have allergies to particular food or medicine or anything. This means their immune system overreacts to these substances, and this can be fatal in few cases. And one of extreme cases of overreaction is autoimmunity. In this case, the immune system attacks the functional physiological activities in the body. For example, in case of type 1 diabetes, the immune system destroys insulin-making cells in the pancreas. In rheumatoid arthritis, the body's immune system attacks its own tissues, including joints, causing painful inflammations. Another example is chronic lymphocytic thyroiditis, commonly known as thyroid, in which the immune system attacks thyroid glands in your neck that makes hormones that control metabolism. This includes your heart rate and how quickly your body uses calories from the food you eat. The researchers don't know exactly what causes autoimmune diseases, but it is believed that genetics, diet, infections, and exposure to chemicals might be involved. On the other hand, loss or inadequate function of various parts of the immune system caused immune deficiency. Immunodeficiency can be congenital, that is present from birth. This can happen due to genetic abnormality or defects in white blood cells. Infections or nutritional deficiencies can also cause immunodeficiency, known as acquired immunodeficiency. AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, is an example, caused by HIV, human immunodeficiency virus. This virus causes an infection that damages the immune system in the humans. Another example is leukemia, commonly known as blood cancer. It is a cancer of the body's blood-forming tissues, including the bone marrow. So, essentially the immune system is designed to perform optimally. If it overreacts, it can do damage, and if it does not respond quickly enough, it can also be detrimental to the health, right? There is no scientific evidence to support claims of companies selling immunity-boosting foods that supposedly enhance immunity, but the immune system can be strengthened and made efficient by some lifestyle changes. Let's explore them one by one. Studies have shown that fruits and vegetables provide nutrients like beta-carotene, vitamin C and vitamin E that can enhance immune functions. Because many vegetables, fruits and other plant-based foods are also rich in antioxidants, exercise or intense physical activity results in cellular damage and induces an immune response, which floods sites of damage with immune cells. Many studies have shown that moderate exercise of fewer than 60 minutes can improve the circulation of cytokines, neutrophils, natural killer cells, T cells, and B cells. Obesity can weaken the body's immune system and reduce its ability to fight off infections. Previous studies have hinted a link between obesity and increased risk of bacterial infection, so it's always better to maintain a healthy weight. Sleep and immunity are closely tied. Inadequate or poor quality sleep is linked to a higher susceptibility to sickness. In a study in 164 healthy adults, those who slept fewer than 6 hours each night were more likely to catch a cold than those who slept 6 hours or more each night. Getting adequate rest may strengthen your natural immunity. Also, you may sleep more when sick to allow your immune system to better fight the illness. The immune system can also be compromised by many lifestyle habits such as smoking and consuming alcohol, which is known to affect T and B cells. Therefore, avoiding them can improve immune response. Relieving stress and anxiety is key to immune health. Long-term stress promotes inflammation as well as imbalance in immune cell functions. In particular, prolonged psychological stress can suppress the immune response in children. Activities that may help you manage your stress include meditation, yoga, and other mindful practices. You may also benefit from seeing a licensed counselor or therapist, whether virtually or in person. So these were some of the ways in which you can keep your immune system thriving. So this brings us to the conclusion of today's discussion. Now, as usual, let's quickly go through what we discussed today. We started today with the immune system, different functions of the immune system, then components of the immune system like barriers, proteins, molecules, and white blood cells. Then we discussed different white blood cells like phagocytes and lymphocytes and their subcategories like T cells and B cells. After which we discussed what the immune response is, innate and adaptive immune response, how innate immunity is first line protection with no disease specific memory, but adaptive immunity have disease specific memory. Adaptive immunity can be active or passive based on if you developed it on your own or borrowed it. Also, it can be obtained naturally through exposure to pathogens or artificially through vaccination. Also, we learned how vaccination is much safer than natural infection. Passive immunity does not last as compared to active immunity. Right, after which we learn about the failure of immune system, how overreaction of the immune system known as hypersensitivity reaction is the cause of allergy and autoimmune diseases like type 1 diabetes and rheumatoid arthritis. Also, inadequate functioning of the immune system can result in immunodeficiency, which can happen either naturally due to genetic abnormality or can be acquired due to infections or nutritional deficiency. And lastly, we learn immunity system can be strengthened and made efficient by certain lifestyle changes. We discussed a few of them like eating fruits and veggies, exercising, and getting enough sleep. In the upcoming video, we will be finally starting our discussion on viruses, so make sure you subscribe the channel and press the bell icon for timely notifications. If you enjoyed and learned something from this video, then make sure that you like the video and share it with others so that we all work together and battle the infodemic. If you have any suggestions, you can comment below. That's all for now. We will meet in the next video. Stay safe, stay connected.